we've got interest rates, which I think are being driven by a sense of uncertainty surrounding a number of things, which is jobs, inflation, primarily. We've got what's going on overseas, geopolitical. I think that's a little bit transitory. So right now, there's a fear that we're getting this inflation back, and there will be in the build-out. The AI build-out is going to require endless amounts of copper and things like that. So there's some inflation there, but I think that what is of greater concern, and I think this is just a little bit of a sideshow, all respect to the tragedy that's happening, a little bit of a sideshow for the Fed, because if you look at the numbers, ADP numbers, all in construction and some healthcare, and we keep seeing that.
Yeah.
Underneath the surface, things are not so great in the economy. So it depends on how long this skirmish lasts. If it doesn't last very long, I think the focus then returns to what I think is going to be the primary problem, which is an increase in job issues. And so I think that takes over. So in my opinion, I think we're still on track for lower rates as we move along here. The semiconductor area has been a very interesting place because we've seen what's happened with software. Software is that digital space that is very easily disrupted. We can create software with a prompt now. We talked about it this morning at breakfast. I mean, we literally are just creating things. A guy I saw on TV, on YouTube, nobody watches TV anymore, on YouTube, he said I was skiing, and I thought of a website, and I just, I spoke into my Claude, my little thing, and he created a website instantly. So software is in a very difficult place unless you can continue to convince people that you're delivering that value. But the other side of tech that has been working has been the physical side, right? The things that we need, the photonics, LITE, COHR, things like that. And semiconductors have been really good until now, because you can't just, conjure up a GPU out of thin air. It's not software. So the inability for chips to really rally on that recent report, that NVIDIA report, was a big moment, because that's just sort of telling you that tech's just not working in general. AVGO, I think, is maybe a more interesting name than NVIDIA, because NVIDIA, you think of where they've been the last few years, it's been very much the engine, the overall training engine. They're getting better at some other things, but where AVGO really shines is that they're kind of a chip company for everybody. So they're sort of, if NVIDIA is sort of, kind of really, really good at one thing, AVGO is very much the highway, the roads, the interconnectivity, the switches, all the things that go into connecting the new world of inference. So inference is very different, right? This is where you need to connect different kinds of chips, different kinds of technologies. What's really big for them? Silicon, custom silicon. What that means is what GPU's doing, TPL. They go to AVGO. Meta wants to do a chip. OpenAI is doing a chip with AVGO. So I like them a little better because they're diversified in a market that is now much, much more competitive. And even though NVIDIA is cheap, right? Everyone keeps saying NVIDIA is so cheap, it's cheap. How can it not be a buy here? It's in a very competitive world. And for me, AVGO is much more interesting because people come to them and they say, not only are they sort of web interconnectedness of data centers and all that stuff, the switches and little bits and pieces, but they are also designing and creating those customized solutions. And we know that Google TPL is going to be doing well. Amazon's got one, and as I just said, OpenAI. So a lot of opportunity there. I would much prefer AVGO over NVIDIA right now.
Hans and Mark, one more minute if you have any last thoughts about State of the Market today.
Yeah. So two things. One, so Hans, if you were going to buy, and I want to ask you this one question, then we'll take a little Q&A if we have a minute Q&A. If you were going to buy one semiconductor stock, what semiconductor stock would you buy?
I have to go with AVGO. Now, I love the memory names, but they've had a hell of a run.
That run has been...
That was crazy. You talked about SanDisk forever ago. I mean, I had no clue.
You and I picked that out for our small cap portfolio,
right.
And I was really excited that we made $100, and then it ran another $300 after we sold it.
Yeah, it's insane.
Power here.
And in a world, the way I want you guys to think of this is, and I really I can't express more that there's no exaggerating at this point. We really are in a world of infinite compute needs. Like, if you think of infinite, whatever that number is, dial it back to make it a little slightly more realistic. That's the world we're going to be living in. So the build-out is not going to stop. I think the market in general is struggling a little bit with what does that mean? Because
Right.
things are moving so quickly. I'll be quick here. Things are moving so quickly. These agentic AI systems, these swarms are happening so quickly. We've brought forward, I think, by about a year, some of the worry in the market, which is, okay, what's everybody going to do for a living? And so the market's struggling with this incredible productivity tool that's going to absolutely explode profit margins for certain companies, and other companies may disappear. It's a tough spot for the market to be in.